All right. Hello, everybody. Sorry for a little bit of a rocky start. I'll make sure to have some words with Greg in a minute. Just kidding.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, it's always the internet. Greg. Anyway, I'm just teasing. Greg does such a good job.
I want to be clear
making
on something. This is YouTube's fault. It's not my fault.
Okay.
Back to the show.
All right. Yeah, I do want to say Greg does a great job. The fact that we kind of keep everything running, the fact that we simulcast to YouTube and go to webinar, and the way that we've kind of evolved to do it over the last several years, he does a really, really good job. So I remember back in the day, we would be starting a webinar and we'd be kind of plugging everything in and kind of getting things working. We've kind of got it down where it's unusual that something goes wrong. So in any case, let's read a legal disclaimer and get on the road. Today's demonstration is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and the accompanying software plugins. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. MetaStock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of the software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. So I do want to talk just a little bit about our guest today. Ed Downs is a good friend of mine. He's out of Texas. He is somebody that's been doing business for years with MetaStock. When I started MetaStock, which was 24 years ago now, we were selling a MetaStock plus OmniTrader bundle. He called me a couple of years ago talking about kind of all of the technology he's designed around AI. I said, that sounds incredible. I'd love to put it into MetaStock, and they made it happen. So he's going to talk about AI today. He's going to talk about kind of all the work that he did, but he's an asset to MetaStock. We love working with him. He's a genuinely nice guy, and that's all the nice things I'm going to say about him today. So Ed, let's go ahead and bring you on here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I really appreciate all that. Gosh, we do go back a long ways, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, way back there.
That OmniTrader bundle was great back in the day. People loved it.
Yes, yeah, it was great. And you guys have always been so fantastic. So I'm gonna say some things about you now, because this artificial intelligence add-on for MetaStock would not have been possible without you and programmers and the staff there, helping us with the integration. And it was just really fun. The whole thing was fun. It's still fun, and I'm having a blast. So
yeah, it's all yours. I'm getting out of the way.
Oh, okay. Well, I just love coming on here because of our history and just working with you guys is great. Your customers are really cool people. I've been emailing with them and working with various aspects of the software continuously, and I do that with customers. I like to take emails and answer them, and they're just great people. So it's been a fantastic experience. And just the really quick 30-second version of what you ever have just a mind where your mind goes blank? What's your name again? Jeffrey. Yeah. It just all went away, just like that. Okay, so the Jeffrey was talking about is that my whole thing is automation. That's really what I started working on with trading back in '87. That's when I started. And we did these utilities that could automate software kind of from the outside. And so we created those for MetaStock and some other things. And I actually came to Salt Lake City and met with Steve Akalis, the founder of MetaStock, and super nice guy, what you would expect. And he started selling our utilities to the MetaStock crowd. And, from there, we just kind of took off together. So it's been a great history. And I'm really proud to show this product to y'all today and what it does. I hope to give you a little more information than just, kind of a demo of the product. I've got some trading things I want to share with you that I think will help you, whether you get the Fulgent AI product or not. Because let me tell you something, options are an amazing tool. If you have not been trading options, you really should look at it for a couple of very important reasons. So we're going to dive right into that to start. And so this first section is called the power of call options. And I have a little fantasy to sort of do with you here. Let's say we had a coin game, and except it's not, win or lose, it's lose or win times 2. So if you lose $1, you win $2. So would you play? Well, bet your bottom dollar you play, because you know, even though the odds are 50-50, if your winners are bigger than your losers by that kind of a magnitude, you're going to do well. And so what I actually did is I simulated this in Excel. So this is a random number generator, just kind of saying, win, loss, whatever, and racking up the gains. And I ran it a whole bunch of times, and all the curves kind of look like this. This is like an equity curve over time if you have those kinds of odds. And the great thing about options is that they do. So if you look at, this is an example I pulled a while ago on region, and there's two charts here. This upper MetaStock window is the 372 call option, and the lower chart is, of course, the stock itself. And just looking at this point here, this is a nice little breakout bar there. On the stock, I like to trade those, especially in the current market. Oh my goodness, amazing profits right now. And you get that little breakout there. It's a very safe place to get in because you got your stop right below that consolidation right there. Super safe. And so if you'd done that on the stock, you'd have made 8% if you held it kind of to this point here. Well, that daggum option goes from 290 to 870, 200% gain above that. And so obviously that's way better than that 8%. But the really cool thing about this, the reason these things are so powerful and so great to trade, is the safety of them. Because, one contract of this is only going to cost $290. One contract, the stock's trading at, what is it out here, 370 or something, whatever it is, depending on the strike, that will control $34,300 worth of that stock. So you're only risking that, you're controlling that much. And so, if you lose the 290, big deal. It's like a stop loss. You just don't really care. So you can throw these trades at the market all day long. I'm not saying do it willy-nilly. You need some good signals and stuff like that. We're going to be talking about that. But if you don't expose very much of your account, like just a small, tiny piece of it, 5 to 10%, that acts like pretty much like you're trading your whole account, except you have a stop loss of just that little bit you're trading. So they're just great things to do. And so the question is, how do you find the options, of course, to trade? And the other question is, how do you find the best entry points, the best places to trade on charts? And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. So to get into this, I want to first just talk about finding candidates in MetaStock. I'm just like probably pretty much everybody that comes on these webinars. I have my thing that I've built, which is our AI product. And I do want to tell you about that. It is our business. And so, yes, I want to show it to you and hope you just fall in love with it and want to get it. But MetaStock is pretty dang powerful just by itself. You really can do very well with just MetaStock. And I know a lot of people do. And I just want to kind of talk about that for a minute, because there's a lot of firepower under the hood. And I want to make sure that you know about it. Probably most of you do. But what I would do is go into those systems that are in there in the system tester and just test a lot of them. I like these particular indicators that I found in there: the Equus Bollinger Bands, relative strength, Schonn momentum, MACD. You don't even have to know what they do. You just have to test them, and then you can rank them based on the profitability. And you find here that the Bollinger Band is the most profitable, but I kind of noticed this Equus MACD expert system generated the biggest numbers. So I kind of, I gravitated to that one, which is what the fourth one on here. But this is a really great tool just to find a system to give you prospecting signals. And that's all you really need, because if you're looking at a chart, like this is, what is this here? This is Pfizer. This particular system, which has got the red sell arrows and the green buy arrows on it, if you just use some common sense, I've also got a moving average on there, 20 period, that if you are in an uptrend, like here, you only wanted to be taking the buy signals like that one. And in a downtrend, you only be taking the sell signals. Here, we're kind of going back in an uptrend again. So we've got that buy signal right there on the right. That is great. So you can just run that, and you're looking for the best possible trend, a pullback in the trend, and a turn off the bottom, in an upward motion. And those things, as long as the market is reasonably intact and doesn't just tank on you, those are way more than 50% going to make money, in my experience. They're really, it's that simple. I mean, technical analysis works, pullbacks, buying pullbacks and trends works, and you just need to find a good indicator to show you these charts. Well, so this gets to the next power tool in MetaStock, which is the Explorer. And so you can take any of those expert systems, and there's going to be an exploration that they have built that goes with it. The exploration will find every place in a list of symbols. I did the SP 500 for this one, that has the signal today, that has the actual arrow today. And really, you just sort on the by column and start looking at them, going through them. So what I want to do here is go ahead and do that really quick. So let's go ahead and bring up the program and my cursor for a second. So I'm going to go to the Explorer, and I can run it. I already actually have run it, so I'm gonna not do that. I made a copy of their expert system with my name on it because I made a couple little tweaks for visual stuff, But so let me just go over here and look at them. So here is the MAC, it's my copy, MACD expert system. But if you look in the list in MetaStock, it's the Equus MACD expert system. So I just made some tweaks. And let's bring up that chart that I just had up here, Pfizer, which has, I'm sorry, let me sort first. So after you run, the buy signals are all right here, right? All these ones are buy signals, and the sells are going to be over here. I can sort on either column. So if I sort on the buy signals and double click that line, it'll bring up Pfizer. Of course, it's already here. I can go ahead, let me close this. I can go ahead and activate the template that you saw on the slide. So let me go to template. Where is it? Apply template. And of course I made one because I wanted to just have very few things in it. So I just kind of, again, made a copy. There it is, Fulgent AI MACD 3-bar exit template. Okay, so I'll apply that. There we go. Okay, so we've got this signal here. Now, and so that really, like I said, I can run the exploration, but that's all there is to it. You just run it. I know you guys know how to do that because they have really good training on MetaStock, so I don't have to go through it. But once you do that, you're going to go through each of those symbols and then look at them in the chart and decide if it's a good buy or not. Now, let's say I decide that this one's really pretty good. Like it's got all the right stuff. It's got a nice pullback. It's going through that moving average for me. It's just looks like it's just ready for a swing to go up toward this resistance up here. So that's a nice, we call that a sloped consolidation as well. And so based on the way this stock has kind of behaved, that's pretty decent little buy signal there. I also notice if I look in really close, I can see a consolidation is formed. Those are typically bullish. So I've got that. So now we're ready to go. And we decide to trade it. And guess what? I would like to trade an option. So that goes to our next little section here, which is using OptionScope to find an option on that symbol. And I'm just going to go through this process really quickly with you. I'm going to show it here first, and then I'll do it. It's really easy. So you got your candidate. We already got that. You add a new indicator window. So you say, right-click indicator new. First of all, you get your symbol, which we just did. I double-click that line in the Explorer. I got my chart. So right-click inner window new, make an inner window here, and then right-click OptionScope. So we're going to do that, those 3 steps. So let's do them really quickly here. So right-click, inner window, new. There it is. And now I right-click, OptionScope. I just love this thing. This is the coolest option thing I have ever seen in any software. It's really good. So let's get it to come up here. All right. And is my internet slow? Hello, computer. Wake up. Wake up. Come on. It's not OptionScope. I can tell you that. What is it? Let me see. What try again? OptionScope. There he goes. I got the hourglass. I did something wrong that first time. Let me see here. Is that behind me? We could have an internet issue going on. So we'll just give it a second here. Let me try again. Right click, OptionScope. All right. No, it's not doing it. Maybe Jeffrey can give me another command to get to it. This is the first time it's ever happened. So I don't know why it's not coming up. Let me go into the dashboard here and let's try it this way. OptionScope. Okay. OptionScope. And that's all fine. And we'll go ahead and put in the symbol, ISV. All right, open it. Well, I have a grayed out window there, so maybe some of the MetaStock staff can help me with this.
Yeah.
I don't. Yes.
For the symbol that you were using, you typed in FISV, I think, on accident, and I think that's where your problem was with the. You wanted to with opening up the option scope. So
okay, so I've got the chart up here. Can I just do it from here?
no, well, you need to. Okay. So what exactly are you trying to put into that inner window?
Well, I can't do it yet. I got to get the option scope up first. So I just want to bring up option scope on FISV right now.
Okay, yeah. If you right click on an empty part of the chart,
like there, okay.
Option scope. Boom, boom, boom. That should work.
Now, remember that one time that the option market was doing something funky after the close? I remember this. There was a time when it was something about the data servers that was going on where it wouldn't actually do it. And this could be the same thing, I'm thinking.
I can try. Let's see. I've got a MetaStock open.
Yes,
let's try and open it from the Power Console again. So I'm going to try at the same time.
Yeah.
So option scope. Yeah, it seems like, wouldn't it be just our luck that they're actually doing maintenance work on the option scope again? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open it up and tell you if I can get it through Power Console.
Okay, are you just typing FISV in here?
FISV.o.
.o. Okay. Well, I didn't do that. Now it's showing me the little button down there. So maybe, drum roll, please.
I was able to pull a list up.
It worked for you? Well, so everything I'm going to show is in my PowerPoint, so I don't absolutely have to bring it up, but it's kind of cool to do it. Who knows, Jeff? It could be something on connection on my end. I don't know.
We will blame it on YouTube again.
I think that's good. Yeah.
Okay. YouTube stop.
Sold.
Moving on.
Okay. So moving right along, pretend that you saw OptionScope come up. What does it look like? Well, it kind of looks like this. They've actually improved the interface a little bit. It's got colors in it now. It looks a little nicer. But so it comes up and it's got the symbol that you were on. In this case, for this example, in the PowerPoint, it was MMM. And so what I like to do are these settings right here. And of course, you'll be able to get this this presentation after the session. I'll tell you how to get it. But so you have these notes. But anyway, so like about 2 weeks out, near the money and out of the money in terms of the price filter. So you want it to be as close as possible, but out. A lot of people like to trade a little bit in the money because they decay less if it goes sideways, but I prefer just out of the money, but close to it. So it's those three settings right there. And then we look at the options, and these are the rules that I use when I'm trading options. Is I really want to see 100 contracts traded at least. You'll see lots. Right now, I saw lots and lots of them that were like 1 or 2. When you have that happening, typically the spread, the bid-ask spread, is really, really wide. In this case, it's only 5 cents in this example, but that's kind of related to volume. And you want the price you're paying for the option to be somewhere between 50 cents and $3. Now, if it's a very expensive stock, you're going to pay more than that, like 9, 10, 11, depending. If it's like, $500 stock, it's going to be up there a little ways. So just realize the lower price stocks move more on a percentage basis than the higher priced typically, unless you're Tesla or something. So it's better to trade, like in the $5 to $50 zone on the actual stocks if you can. But don't need to. I have done trades on $500 stocks before, and they worked out great. So it's just kind of a rule of thumb. But those are the three criteria I kind of look at in the Explorer, in the option search. Sorry. Okay. So once you have decided which one you want to do, you double click it, and when you do that, it'll plot it. Now it plots it in its own page, like its own window. Okay, so remember we did that create the new inner window. So all you do is say window cascade from the MetaStock menu, and it'll show you the last chart you brought up and the one before it, right there on the top of the cascade. And so you just drag that, you click on that little chart of the option trade, and you pull it right over into that window. Then you can just close this chart and go, back, maximize everything. So you don't need this option chart anymore once you've done that. Okay, so what does this do for you? Why are we doing all this? Because the cool thing about MetaStock, and if you haven't used other software, or you have not used other software, you may not really appreciate this, but the fact that they're letting you plot that option in a chart is really, really valuable, because you can see, how it's reacting to the price chart. You can draw trend lines on it. You can even put indicators on it if you want to. It's like that's what you're trading, and you want to be monitoring what you're trading. And most software out there, you really can't. They don't have the data. But this is, I guess from Reuters, and so they got everything. So it's right there, and it's going to update daily and during the day as to what that option is doing, with your trade. So you've got in your chart, and you do this a bunch of candidates that you have, and you place position with a broker. And what I'm suggesting here is, for the first thing I said, is you don't want to go over 10% of your account doing this. You don't need to, because we saw that enormous gain. The stock goes 8%, the option goes like 200 and something percent. I mean, it's like leverage. You have that leverage, so you don't need to do any more than 10%. It'll jazz your account plenty, let me tell you. And so because it's 10%, I would limit the size to in the 1 to 2% of the account range. So like if it's a $10,000 account, that'd be like $100 per trade, one contract, very doable. Maybe $200, or if it's a $5,000 account, $100 per trade for 2%. And then you just want to monitor them in here and wait until the normal things happen, like you hit a target in the chart, or if it goes against you, you get out. Of course, you want to cut the losses short. I find this to be a really good rule down here. Take profits on doubles and sell losers on half. So if the option doubles, you take it off the table. You can look at the chart, see if the trend's really strong. You might want to let it go a little longer, put a stop right below it on the option if you can guess the price of the option and set that stop with a broker. But this is just a really good rule. So it's kind of like the first thing I said, with the coins flipping, right? So you win 2, lose 1. This is the same thing. And if this is like too much, you can say, we'll take profits on a 50% up and a 25% down is when you get out on the losers. And that's that same 2-to-1 ratio on your trades. And you'll see an account appreciating if you do that, and your trades are just reasonable. They're reasonably good points, in charts. Then you will see that. In my experience, that's what's happened for me, and I would practice it for a little while first, of course, just do some paper trading and get the gist of this. But in the current market, I'm going to tell you the spreads are really, really wide because it's so volatile. So you have to be ready for that. But these stocks are moving so much. I mean, so incredibly much. I've had stock trades double and triple in days recently. So these things are moving like crazy, and that's why the spreads are higher. So that what I was saying about the spread being, very tiny, you're probably not going to see that in the current market. They're pretty wide. Okay, so that's just generally using MetaStock, getting a good system, prospecting from the signals, and putting the options on the chart and placing the trade, and selecting them based on the things that I was showing. Okay, and that works great. But now let's talk about what I'm really here to show you from what we have, and that is the AI tool that we've developed. And the whole idea behind the AI is that, and the reason I started working on it a long time ago, in 1996, actually we did our first neural network, and since then we've been improving various technologies that are basically AI for traders. And Fulgent is this add-on module, of course, for MetaStock that has all that in it. But there's just many, many years of development inside that thing. And here's the deal. If I look at the market, let me just bring this up. So if I look at the market, I see this incredible universe of opportunities. I mean, they're everywhere. I can do scans, use the Explorer. you just find these things that are breaking out through highs, perfect reversions to a moving average. A 20 period is great for this. Stock pulls back to the 20 period moving average, very likely to launch off that. They're just everywhere. But we like to use more than just one or two things trying to find a candidate. We want to use volume. Is volume increasing right there? We want to look at the retracement percentage of the prior move, because Fibonacci retracements work. We want to, is there a pattern? Is there a consolidation forming right there? So there's lots and lots and lots of things. There's actually this infinite number of things that you can measure on a chart to determine if that's a reasonable risk to do. And so, how do you find those rules? Well, everybody who does trading software has something like this, that, when this happens and this happens and this happens, I get a signal. And of course, people sell modules that have these things. But what my belief was that there's so many things you can use that what I wanted was something that would just combine them automatically. With 100 things you can look at, which ones are profitable over time. And so the way that we did that, of course, is with, drum roll please, AI. And I want to talk about the flavor of AI that we have in here very quickly. We use something called a genetic algorithm, which works on a population, and the population has all these things like above a moving average, volume increasing. That's each one of those little squares is a thing like that. And what it's trying to do is to say, well, which ones, if I've got hundreds of them in combination, work, to give you a profitable trade. And then what it does is it goes around and it says, well, let's, I've got three things here that end up being profitable. Let's combine them to get a new one here and see if it's profitable. So it just keeps trying different variations of these. We call them inputs or genes. It's a genetic algorithm, so they're called genes. But it's just every one of these is a little thing. Like momentum is increasing, volume is increasing, stock is above its 20 period moving average. All those things. There's just hundreds and hundreds of them. And so after a while of doing this process, it will start to find things that are profitable. It takes the profitable combinations and combines them again, strips them apart, uses them to create new things, and it keeps getting better and better and better as it's training over time. So that's, the whole idea. So when it has finished that, it creates what's called a knowledge base, which has thousands of rules in it. A rule is just like MACD, crossover happened, and RSI is below 30, and volume increased by 10%, and those kinds of things. And that's a rule, one rule. There are thousands in there, and the rules then are used to identify these trades in the chart as it goes forward. So it's very sophisticated, gazillion, what do you call them, processing cycles to make this happen. It's just really, it's amazing. It's as fast as it is considering what it's doing, and it is really pretty fast. But it's just this enormous thing that has all these rules in it, and so we then of course we're going to trade those signals. So the product that you're going to be seeing here is called Fulgent AI for MetaStock, and it is running in the background of the computer. It's actually in the system tray. This knowledge base is there too. Here's MetaStock. MetaStock talks to it, passes all the data for the chart over there, and it says, you got any signals for me on all this data? So it looks in its rule base and sees if it can find matches to the inputs for profitable rules according to the history, the training period. And everything you're going to see here is all what we call out of sample data. The program didn't see the data. It used the data before that. I think we stopped our training for this version at the end of 2017. So 18, 19, and 20 are all out of sample. Didn't have access to that data. And you'll see that it has a rating in it. It tells you how many times this particular rule that fired that signal occurred in the historical data, and how profitable it was in general and on average, and some stats right there. But that's really what it does. So what I'm going to do here is bring it up, and okay, so let's go ahead and close this chart, and let me go to the little power console here and go to chart, and let's do, we got Apple there, that's fine. And what I want to do is change the template to be the Fulgent AI stocks template. All right, and let's go over that chart and see what it looks like. And while I'm at it, I'm going to turn on the expert commentary. It's coming. There we go. And let's view the expert commentary. Okay, let me go ahead and zoom in here a little bit. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because what I want to do is keep talking about options. But these, the signals are firing, and then these are actually stops that are plotted in the chart, so you can see where the stop level is as it moves up. Let's go through a couple. This is just like whatever it is, the Dow, and we'll just go through some charts here and just kind of look at where these things are firing. And what you're going to see very quickly is that they're really good. The signals are amazing. They're firing. I mean, there's a swing trade right there. Here's what we call a quick move trade, made all that money right there. This one stayed in the trade. There's the initial stop loss all the way up to there. Now, COVID did freak it out a little bit because the market was going straight down, and you don't have many markets like that. So the genetic algorithm was going, what is going on here? This is weird. But aside from the COVID decline, it's really, really just amazingly accurate at these signals. And that's the whole idea. If you get a signal, for an option trade, let me zoom a little here. You want it to be as profitable as you can get it, because you can get a move like this. That's like, an at the money option. That's like a triple right there. So that's what you're looking for. And I can just go ahead and show you if I click in here that this, there's those numbers and where the stop is, and it tells you about the little strategy that's firing right there. And there's 4 of them. I'm going to summarize the tool in just a minute, what's in it, because there's a lot of things going on in here that I can tell you about. But what I want to do right now, let me go through a few more charts here, and I want to get back to options because that's what we're here to learn about and how this can help you with options. All right. And now remember, it is calculating thousands of indicators, thousands of rules on each of the experts that are in here. And so it takes it a couple seconds for each chart to come up. But it's not really that long. People ask, well, why does it take a little bit to come up? Because it's not just like RSI or MACD or something. It is massive what it's calculating, and the results I think are worth it. And let's see, let's go ahead and just do a few more here. I'm just going right from left to right on this list. There's a quick move right there, killer. This is a volatility breakout that stayed into there, and we could just do this all day, go through all these things. I think it'll be more instructive at this point to get back to options, and let's talk about Let's talk about that Salesforce. So yeah, what we can do, how the AI can help. And it's kind of obvious, really, that the name of the game here is getting really good signals. And so, I was going to show you this slide. I forgot to show it to you. So that's what I just showed you. There are these 4 experts in there. And we'll kind of summarize those a little bit later, but you can see them firing in this chart all over the place, and they're just really good signals. Okay, so this is the thing I thought was next, is that when we run the Fulgent AI against other systems, and MetaStock has a good collection of basic technical analysis systems. Like I said, they're very good for prospecting, and it's what I had access to. I know there's others out there that people sell, but I ran Fulgent against all those that I showed earlier, and it pretty much almost always is the most profitable expiration of just the defaults that are sitting in MetaStock, which are, they're examples and they're very good. But so that's just a kind of a proof of the pudding. If you can test and you've got that, that's good to see that. All right. So let's move on now and talk about option trades. All right. And I'm glad I took screenshots of this because we can't run it right now, but that's okay. That's all right. Not a problem. So you run the expiration, and the reason I put this slide in here is that in addition to the long and short signal columns, some days you won't get very many. You might get 2 or 3 or 5. And so we have this in long and in short column, which is really powerful because you can sort on that and it will tell you how many bars back the signal occurred. So it's still in trade. Maybe it occurred yesterday, the day before yesterday. So you want to look at it, because if it's in trade, you saw those things tick off like this and go up. If it's in trade, you may want to jump on that, even if it's 3 or 4 days old. Depends on the chart. So that's why we have this, and it'll tell you how many bars back that is in that column right there. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to show you some examples. This is what I did is I ran this thing. I set the Explorer to run on Monday. And the reason I chose Monday is that I wanted to have, some charts, some options are very thin. This one's not. This is a lot of data to it, but sometimes they're kind of thin. So I wanted to make sure I had option data where the signal is being fired. So here's a swing trade. And again, you can see these trades back here on these charts. But so fires right there, that makes 29% compared to 2.7% on the stock. I think I've got about 6 or 7 of these. Here's Pfizer, which I was trying to use for my example, which I couldn't do. But the signal bar, the volatility breakout signal bar is right there. It's in trade still. Was right there, at the end of that bar. If you'd run this, before the close, and so that was a 71% move on the option. That's the February 19th 111 call. 71%. The stock moves 4. So, like I say, I mean, it's leverage. You don't need to trade a big part of your account because these things move so much that, it's just like gravy. Okay, so this is a great one. GPN, and I love this option chart. It's very, when you see a chart like this, the spreads are small, it's a very liquid market, and you wouldn't expect it to be back here, but right in this zone, it's great. And that should say February 19, not 16, but February 19th, 200 call, up 246% from where the signal occurred on that bar to today. This is today. That's the third right there. So I decided I'd spend a little time on this today because I wanted just to have the freshest, crispest examples I could get to show you. And so very, very happy to do that. This one, you can see this, the power of this. Here's the signal. And again, this is from the scan. Now this one is 3 days old. There's the first right there. So I see that occurred, and I'm going, well, that swing trade strategy is pretty darn good. I'm going to go ahead and get in because I think that's a pullback in an uptrend. Here's my uptrend. I think that's a pullback. I'm going to get in, and sure enough, it takes off and makes 74% compared to 5 on the chart. 5. All right, another one, Xerox. Oh yeah, this is a nice one. The option's not quite so liquid. It's okay, but not quite as much. And here's a major reversal signal right there. And again, it fired 4 days ago, 5 days ago. I'm sitting here on this day, the first Monday, and I see that big breakaway bar. That's like a no-brainer. Nice saucer pattern. I'm sure Jeffrey would agree with me on this because I know he trades these things. Nice saucer pattern. Boom, I'm in. Well, I've been trading the stocks, but look at this. From there to there, 74% versus 4% in the chart from that bar to where we are now. Not the signal, but from where we ostensibly ran this on Monday. So anyway, it just gives you, and it's just so nice to have the option chart there. You can see exactly where your trade is and follow it. And MetaStock's the only program I know that can do that. So it's good stuff. All right, so that's options. I hope I helped you with that and showed you a little bit of the power of these signals generated by AI. And then of course any directional signal you have, you put an option on it, and you get in your favor 10 times the result. Worst case, you lose the option premium. There's your stop loss. Okay. So we'll go ahead and move on now and just talk about Fulgent. I've just got some summary things here to show you, just so you know a little more about it. So the first is that, and we will have time for questions, not a problem. The interface, I'm going to go ahead and show this to you very quickly, but it's actually built into MetaStock. And so if I go over here and say Tools, Fulgent AI, it's right there. The Fulgent AI interface comes up, and I have several different things running in here. We have a pattern product that's up here, but you see all these FT stocks. What I basically did is I retrained the experts on different things on the S&P, the SPX 30 of the let's see, Disney by itself, the currencies. And so I just retrained it, and it will make a new version of the entire set of experts every time you retrain it. Let's drill down into the original, which is this right here. And you can see the 4 experts that are in it. And I've got them all turned on. You can turn on longs or shorts. So it's a pretty simple interface. I just have everything turned on. I've selected this one. If you're using it, and this is all you have, all you will see is FT stocks. Now, if you retrain it, you can name it anything you want. So FTV1, FT, whatever you want to call it. There's also a ranking, a signal ranking down here, so you can say I only want signals with a rating above 70%. That's 76 right there. So 70% or better, and that's it. And here's training down here. So it's pretty simple. Just It's that one interface. So I want to make sure you saw that. Okay, let's go back over here. And just showed that you can activate specific experts, longs, shorts, or both. There you go. And people always ask me, can I use this on Forex, futures, real time? Yes, because you can retrain it. So you just, there's 4 different approaches in FT stocks, and they were trained on stock market data. So, you just, there's a training expert in there, a training exploration, sorry. It's just called Fulgent AI training and exploration. And it talks to MetaStock to get the data over there. And then you see it training. You see a little graph being built as it's training. Let that run for a couple hours. And you've got a retrained set of experts. People seem to really like that. I get a lot of questions about that. People wanting to train on all kinds of things out there that I've never even heard of. You can also retrain on specific indicators. So you take like this, the quick move expert is probably the best one in there. It's very good for getting quick moves like this. But this particular one was trained on this, on the RSI 3 less than 30, those little green areas down there. That's what it was trained on. And all I did to do it was I put that formula in the little file, in the user input file, which looks like an indicator. It's an indicator file. I just put that in there. That's all I had to do. That's it. No coding of stuff, just that relationship. Like when that is true, that's the thing I want the AI to look at. I want to look at every single place that RSI 3 is less than 30 and train on it. Find stuff. Oh, well, MACD's doing this, it's good. When volume's doing that, it's good. If you got a V bottom, that's good. So it's looking at all these, hundreds and hundreds of things to come up with rules around that particular relationship. It's just very, like if you like trading MACD breakouts, you put, MACD crosses, it's moving average. I mean, it can be anything. And you can call functions as well. So it's very, very simple, but very powerful. And this particular test, I made an RSI 3 system that was just, trade on the crossover and get out in 3 bars. And here's the result of that. There's my poor little RSI 3 system, didn't do so great. Here's the one I trained. So it was very profitable just by training on that. I mean, can you imagine? RSI 3, pretty simple relationship. It can be anything you want. So really proud of that feature the programmers added to the Fulgent engine and exposed that you can use. So it's really, really great. So my last slide before I take questions and whatever Jeffrey wants to ask me is that the module includes the advisor, of course, we saw that, the commentary, an exploration, which I used in my examples, and the system test feature or thing, system tester, what do you call it? Thing in the system test list, Fulgent AI stocks system test. So that's what it is. And really, I think that's about it. So let me go ahead and open the floor to questions. Jeffrey, if you see anything out there I need to answer, I'm happy to do that.
We have a couple of really good questions out of Utah, YouTube, I mean. So Sheena wants to know, well, I don't know if Sheena's in Utah. I'd be highly surprised if she was. She wanted to know, do you let your losing option trades expire worthless, or do you get out of them at a certain percentage loss?
Yeah, I like the rule that I showed, 50% out and then double out. So 50% loss. The thing is, often, charts, especially in this market, will just suddenly gap, down. And so you can lose all of it. And that's why if you look at it like a stop loss, like you're trading gazillion thousands of dollars of stock with that simple little cheap option. And so it's okay. If it loses $300 on a, what would have been a $30,000 trade, you go, well, that's a pretty good stop loss. So, so on the downside, I don't worry about it. On the profit side, I do look at chart targets and other things. I'll let options go to a triple or a quintuple in terms of gains if the chart shows that it has that ability. There's things like measured moves, right? You have a consolidation, which is typically the halfway point. And there's ways you can kind of tell it's likely to go much higher. And so if it looks like it can, I'll let it go. But
all right, cool. That was a great answer. Yeah, and then some. Up to what time from the present should you retrain, and how often should you retrain?
Well, the product as it's delivered has not been retrained since it was released. It's held up really, really well. retraining is really about different symbols, or if you're using your own indicator and you just want to train to that.
Yeah, we have a lot of people that. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, Ed.
No,
I was just going to add, we have a lot of people that are in international markets and they want to be able to test and train for those different markets. And that's a really, really good reason to do it.
Yep. Different symbols, different indicator. Yeah.
Sheena says another question, when would you use continuous training?
Well, you saw that checkbox in there. Good for you. It was pretty small. That's good. So it has the ability to train basically forever. When you think, I'm going to do one little digression here, Jeffrey. I hope it's okay. But so
yeah, you're doing great.
Okay. So if you think about 200 indicators, right? Let's just say 100. 100 indicators. If it's like, if they're true, false, and neutral, like I don't use it, that's neutral, or it's true and I'm using it, or it's false and I'm using it, right? To make a rule. So this is true, don't care about these. This one's true, this one's false, this one's true. That creates a rule. If there's 100 of those, believe it or not, every combination of those things is 47. I think it's septillion. It's 30 something zeros behind the number 47. That's how many combinations you would have to test to try every single one of those variants. You can't do it. It's not possible. It would take, I calculate it's like several hundred years or something. I mean, it's unbelievably long. So what the GA is doing is it's probing. It's trying to find something out there randomly first, and it goes, aha, I found something. It's profitable. Let's keep this one over here, and it looks for another one. Now it's got 2. So it could do that for forever. I mean, you could just let it run every night. You just put the continuous thing on there and say, okay, keep going, and it'll just keep finding more and more stuff. So, and you can even, like, as they're delivered to you, you can do that with those. The only penalty in doing that is the more rules you have, the more it slows down, because it has to try all of them. It literally goes through every rule it has to find out if on every bar there is a firing of that rule. So you can imagine how much computation that is. So that's the only downside to letting it get huge, like 100,000 rules. They're typically about 2,000 to 4,000. So, yeah.
All right, Paul, that was a great answer. Paul wants to know, since there's so many signals generated when you run a scan, do you have recommendations on how you would further rank your stock signals?
Oh, well, there's some great things in the MetaStock Explorer that, like, you limit on volume, limit on price, limit on, just knock out the things that you wouldn't trade. Why scan them? So you can filter, out stuff so that you're only looking at the cherry picked things that you would trade. You can use technical indicators, things like that. So you can definitely get a better result by applying those kinds of filters. And there's a lot of ideas.
Okay, last question. Have you compared the results from the 4 different experts?
Yes.
Okay.
What's interesting about that is Quick Moves always works well. It's designed to find 3 to 4 day trades. That's its job. Sometimes the volatility breakout expert is dynamite, like this year. Sometimes the swing trading expert is dynamite, and then sometimes the major reversal expert is really, really good. They kind of change hands. As I look at the trades, just the market gets in certain modes where they sort of trade off, and one's better than the other. It's not like, well, just one is the best. You just use that one all the time. So, we have them all turned on, but people find they like one of them or 2 of them a lot. One person just likes major reversal. That's all he trades. Okay. It's really trying to find major reversals. So, yeah, there's no definitive which one's best. They kind of take turns.
It's like trying to pick your favorite kid.
Yeah.
All right.
That's right.
All right, very good. It just depends on which one's not behaving the best that day, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Just on that one.
That's on that note. There's no more questions. So
okay.
I'm going to talk about the special offer that we kind of set up for everybody.
Yeah. Take it away there.
Let me go ahead and do that. Good job, Ed. I appreciate it. So we had that. I think with that power screener issue, I think it was maybe floating in a different screen. So that sometimes happens.
Ah,
Right. Okay. So Ed showed you the Fulgent AI. He did a really good job. It does have like the expert commentary, systems testing, the full market scanning. One of the things I really like about Ed is he does update the program quite often. You have the retraining capability that's been added. It's something that he's been very, very good at kind of supporting, and his team has been really good at supporting as well. Every time I have to interface with the guys over at Fulgent, they do such a good job with everything. So the program price itself is $149 per month. We still have an introductory price, although we should probably talk about maybe twilighting that with Ed. But right now you can pick it up for a permanent $99 per month. You can get that at metastock.com/FulgentA. You can give us a call at 800-882-3040. You can also chat online with us at metastock.com/saleschat. If you don't have MetaStock, I'll tell you this. It's the best rated software in its price category. It's been that way for 25 plus years in a row. So we'll actually include, if you do the Fulgent and you want to try it in MetaStock, we'll actually include a free trial of MetaStock or an extended trial if you want to do that, where you can pay a month and get 2 months for free. But this is a permanent price for you. As long as you keep your subscription active, it's a $50 savings every month. And since it's just a subscription, if it's not helpful for you or you feel like it's not giving you the trades that you deserve, you can just cancel it anytime and only pay for the months that you use it. So give it a go. The risk reward is very, very good right there. 800-882-3040. Online, metastock.com/FulgentA or metastock.com/saleschat. So thanks for coming today. Thank you, Ed, for your time. I appreciate it. I think you did a great job. For all of you that came today, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And I hope we see you at the next one. So we'll see you there.